Well, as you may be able to tell by the leaves on the ground and maybe the color of some of the trees around here, it is definitely fall, and it's actually October, and this is the October Marvin Gardens video. Here's one tree that's mostly shedded all its fall leaves, but there's still a lot going on because we haven't had our first killing frost. We had a little bit of a frost that showed up on the windshields only a couple of weeks ago, but nothing since. So we're really quite into an extended pre-fall, if you measure it by frost. Anyway, I'd start with chives, but there aren't many chives to see. They're down there still. Everything's getting crowded out a little bit. But this Asian basil has done very well, although it's looking a little weird right now. This one nasturtium that somehow got planted over here is doing great, kind of taking over everything. And these garlic chives, I don't know if you can see this, but they were blooming before, and then they potted, and now you see the little black things in there are seeds, which means I'm sure we could, if we wanted to, take those seeds and plant some new plants for next year. But they're going to come around next year anyway, so it doesn't matter. Hi, Frankie. How's it going? So that being said, we'll amble on over here to bed number 1. And look at this thing. This is what you call quite a tomato plant. If you remember from a month or so ago, it was just a volunteer that came up, and I decided to let it grow. And not only did it grow, but these down here are not really ready. But we have picked a bunch of what appear to be Juliet tomatoes. So, much to my surprise, it actually is producing. And I'll show you what else is producing here, which is also a bit of a surprise, how well they're doing. Yeah, that's a full-size, ready-to-go cauliflower. And cauliflowers are a cold weather crop, meaning they like the cold weather. But all these were just, kind of afterthoughts. Oh, look, there's another one. Yeah, right there too. And they're just coming in all over the place. Some of them we've let get past their prime, like that one there, but still probably usable. But we've got easy a half dozen good cauliflowers that we're going to get. And nestled in there is carrots, and looks like, I don't know if I can manage to. Yeah, this looks like I'm not going to manage to get that one out, and I managed to break that one off. But otherwise, you can see that they're pretty good-looking carrots, and they're that's what they all should have looked like if I'd have done it correctly. But they're getting ready to go. We got a little bit of a broccoli head coming up there, and these are 2 different varieties of broccoli that I haven't been attending to very well, meaning I didn't thin them out very well, but some of them are coming in pretty good. Well, I think it's likely that we'll get some broccoli out of those guys. Meanwhile, I've got some more carrots over here, and a couple more cauliflowers. And as you can see, Nice, fine-looking cauliflowers, which we like around here because that's our mashed potato substitute on our ketogenic diet. That brings us to, of course, the ever-producing kale. Produces way more than we can keep up with. The older leaves get yellow and kind of drop off, but these all these upper leaves are fine to harvest, and we come in here every once in a while, at least take advantage of a few of them. But they've been doing well. And here is a artichoke, and I think I have a still of the artichoke that came off that stump there, because this was a very late thriving plant, but it did produce probably the finest artichoke that we've gotten so far this season. So that's good. And everybody wants to say hi to Cassie. Hi, Cassie. What's going on? She says, a little camera shy today, Dad. Now, we did get whiteflies back with a vengeance over here, but you wouldn't know it because I sprayed yesterday. There were clouds of them coming up from all the plants. Now there's only a few. I used neem oil and alcohol, and that's about it, and water to fog them as much as I could. And these Brussels sprouts are looking a little anemic, but there's some, I think, that are even covered with weeds, but there's Brussels sprouts underneath, so we are indeed still getting stuff from them, just a lot slower than we used to. The compost heap is due for another load of manure, which I'm hoping to do soon, because it's almost time to start spreading that layer on the beds for next season. And here, of course, we are at the grow house, what I've tended to call it, and the biggest surprise of the season is that pumpkin, which is easily basketball size. Hasn't started to turn orange yet, but and it probably won't in time for Halloween, which is less than a week away. But it's actually growing. We're going to get one, so that's a big success. Off in the distance there, I don't know if you can see, maybe I can digitally zoom in, there's another pumpkin that it also has pollinated and is growing and kind of hanging off the side. But I don't think, we're not going to get a full-size pumpkin out of that. Although the place is, a little protected from the frost, so they'll last longer than most. We have continued to get lots of summer squash, and of course the first frost would do them. And this one right here, by the way, that's a female blossom, meaning there's a little fruit down there behind it. If you can see, if my camera works any good. And then we're on to our fall planted flowers. We had a pretty good windstorm that I had to kind of stake these guys back up, but we've got a few varieties of sunflower. These little guys are kind of cute looking. The ones on the top there are more brown of a variety. Let's see if I can I can get in there and at least give you sort of a look there of what they look like. I'm sure they're going to get bigger. And then we did have some bunching onions under there, but I'm afraid they got kind of smothered by the flowers. I did kind of overplant a little out here. But those are trailing nasturtiums, and these are what you call them? borage coming in vigorously. Another kind of nasturtium, Empress of India, and you can see the little lemon gem marigolds are blooming. And big surprise, we've got lots of healthy lettuce leaves, and that's always a challenge for me. Down here we got here's another female bloom. Let me see, it's hard for me to look at the camera, or there we go. That's, you can see the little scallop squash behind it. And we've been getting dozens and dozens and dozens of these guys. Just a great idea to take advantage of their short growing season and plant them much later than you think you would. They're very prolific, and we're getting a very fine crop of them. Speaking of a fine crop, there's a zucchini that needs to be removed. Don't want them to get too much bigger than that. Things are slowing down over here, though. You can see the green beans are still producing, but the ground cherries are on their last legs, although they're still coming around. Okra's just pretty much done for, and the celeriac, I did finally end up with, it looks like 3 good celeriac plants, and you harvest the bulb underneath the leafy growths that look like celery. And then there's this. Now this looks a lot different than it did last time, because this is where the peanuts used to be. And just yesterday we harvested all the peanuts, and I'm going to take a little break and show you the video that we did of that process, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we are about 3/4 of the way through October, and we haven't had a killing frost yet. We had a little bit of frost on the windshields a couple weeks ago, but nothing to speak of. But it's just a matter of time, and these peanut plants are starting to look like they're on the downside. So I think today is the day that we're going to try to harvest peanuts and see what we think. This corner here, you'll notice, is already black because we did pull one plant out earlier just to see what was going on. And there are some peanuts, which I'll show you later. But we're going to work our way back into this row and try to not destroy peanuts, and try to develop the proper technique for getting them up and showing you what we end up with here. Now this is a plant, but it's not quite up here, not quite loosened. All right, and then I think we got another one here, so maybe we'll loosen 2 at a time. Excuse my backside if you just got it a second ago. And all right, I think I can pull those. And here we go. So the idea is you shake the dirt off as much as you can, and you can see that not an overabundance of peanuts, but definitely we got peanuts down here, so that's a good sign. And there's some loose ones that fall off too. We'll make sure we get all of those. Here's the second plant. And you can see there's a good few handfuls of peanuts. Now I'm not sure how much you're supposed to get, where they, like grow peanuts down in Georgia, where it's perfect climate for peanuts. But this was just the first 2 or 3 plants, and so we're at least going to get more peanuts than we started with, and that's always a good idea. So what I'm going to do after I took my microphone back in here is start working on all these plants. I'm not going to watch you or have you watch me do that whole thing unless I do a time lapse or something, and see if I can get us a peanut crop going here. And I'll tell you what I'll do. I think I can do this with this camera over here. Is I'll take these guys and bring them over into where I plan to dry them all. And I said we pulled one earlier. That's this plant right here. You can see it's got a bunch of peanuts on it, and you can also see that the leaves are all dry. So once everything gets dried, it's easier to get the dirt off of them. And I have a feeling we're going to be full up with drying peanut plants by the time the day is over. But anyway, some nice peanuts here. That's a full-size peanut. These are mostly all doubles. I think we saw a triple earlier, but here we go. Now, as you might recall, we invested a fair amount of space for peanuts because peanuts are, well, let's just say that they're one of the staples for if you're on a ketogenic diet, which we are. So we got to dig up this whole thing, which looks like it's about 100 square feet, I'd say, and see what we get. So we'll see you on the flip side. So yeah, that's what that big happening was, and of course it's going to be until after we clean everything and cut everything off the plants before we'll actually know exactly how well we did with peanuts, but looks like we did okay anyway. These bee balm, it looks like they are springtime only plants because they've been looking like this for months. Just kind of still got some green leaves, but not really doing much of anything. Peppers, on the other hand, have continued to just do fine, and of course an early frost would take care of them. We're really living on borrowed time because our first frost date is actually officially the middle of September, and usually by the middle of October we've at least had one, but we have not yet, and it's we're in the fourth week. We're only a week away from Halloween, like I said. All the tomato plants are looking a little worse for wear, and some of them are looking really worse for wear, like done for. But we're still getting a few, and can't argue with that. Once we get a threat of a frost, we'll take all the green ones in and do something with them. And I'm kind of rambling out of order here, but eggplants, a similar story. They're sort of slowing down, but as you can see, there's eggplants in there, and we've harvested a lot and sliced them up and seasoned them, and we're going to be grilling them and eating them and freezing them. These El Eden peppers also been doing fine all season long. They're not too hot. and they've been an asset. Now this particular pepper plant seems to be on its way out, but they've been in general very good. And these banana peppers, which seem to be getting yellower as the season goes on, also doing fine. We've got a row of mixed lettuce there, some of which is going to seed or bolting, but still good leaves, and we'll probably have ourselves a big salad one of these days. This does not really belong here; it kind of fell off. But that's pak choy, a row of pak choy, which we seem to have pretty good luck with, and never get around to eating it. It's always too much for us to keep up with. And then you've got scallions. Froze a bunch of scallions. I'm due to come back in and do some more. They really did well here. And hiding in beneath there are bib lettuce, which is also going to seed or bolting. And the last row is a row of borage here, which is also doing good. But we're getting to the point now where our vacancies stay vacant, as in the peanuts. We won't be planting anything else there of significance. And we're getting to the time when it's time to sort of bed down for the winter. But let's take a quick little look here at the asparagus patch. We finally, as you may remember last time, got all the weeds under control. Now I believe that yellowing is just them reaching the end of their life cycle for the season, and I did not see any asparagus beetles in there, and there's lots of shoots at each location, so I'm hopeful we're going to get a nice crop of first year asparagus, which will be just about the first thing to come in the spring. Here's our new wetlands area. And interestingly enough, the deer seem to like the cattails too. Our water hyacinths are kind of fading out. They've been blooming quite heavily, and the cattails, when they get all puffy like this, I think that's them, reproducing. And so I'm hoping we'll get more and more cattails out here every season. Maybe figure out a way to make it look a little more organized than chaos out here. But the asparagus bed is looking pretty good. You can see there's a maple tree that's looking pretty yellow, the way it should be in late October. And I think that's pretty much it to share with you this month. I've got so much drone footage, I have no idea how I'm going to fit it all in here. Just going to have to be selective, but we've been enjoying the fact that there's been a delay in the frost, and we're getting ready for it. You just probably saw this. It doesn't look much different than it did when I showed it to you in yesterday's video, but here are all the peanuts, and these are the ones that fell off separately. So we just washed them and let them dry here. I still have to look up a little bit about technically the best way to get them off the plants and dried and cleaned and then on to roasting. But I think that's pretty much gonna do it for October. Very peaceful evening. It's a little cool, and I'm having trouble getting the camera pointed in my direction, but who cares? And the pond is also kind of venturing into, I should say, sort of a fall scenario here. I've trimmed back a lot of the plants that were starting to look yucky, and Cassie is checking around for either frogs or chipmunks or snakes even. They even did in a garter snake the other day. Pretty good sized one too. But everything else is just slowly slipping into fall, and even the other dogs are like, you know what? I think I'm ready to go in. How about you, Dad? So, right, Frankie boy? Had enough? Jolie is so intent on going in, she doesn't even want to look around. All right. So, that is going to do it. This is Marvin Gardens, October 2019. And, like I say, Halloween is just a week away. A little bit less than a week, even. And then we're headed into November, and you know what that means. The holiday starts, as far as I'm concerned, with October. And the rest of it is non-stop fun. All right, everybody. Hope you're having a great fall. Have a great Halloween. And we'll probably do the video before Thanksgiving. But if we don't, have a great Thanksgiving too. We're planning to head up to Vermont for Vermont Thanksgiving. That's going to be fun. So anyway, that'll do it. And we'll see you next time in November. Bye, y'all.